Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigor Mortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have, for the continuation of TennoVember, Warframe, Infection. So, yeah, we are doing this Warframe creepypasta that we found on SomeOrdinaryGamer.fandom. It is by Gratuitous Lurking. This was one of their first attempts to write a creepy story. It was written back in 2013. So apparently they were like, I don't know if I should this may not be, it may be weird writing a creepy story about Warframe since it's so new, because back in 2013, gamer, when did Warframe come out? As our resident Warframe expert.
Google quickly. Google foo. March 25th, 2013. I knew that off the top of my head.
Oh wow. Okay, so, and this story came out in April of 2013. So
yeah, because it's talking about the closed beta stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just dive into this story. You can like I said, you can check it out at SomeOrdinaryGamers.fandom.com, which is basically the Some Ordinary Gamers wiki. So onto the rundown. A gamer, Nair, is playing Warframe early on in the game's closed and open beta, while doing some grinding with their Ember Warframe, which is like a melee fire type Warframe, I believe.
Not really melee, but either way, fire-based.
Okay, fire-based Warframe. Dealing with a solo capture mission with the creepy infested faction in the game. The game becomes an extermination mission halfway through. The odd parts are that the Lotus pops up. The Lotus is the mission announcer and giver most of the time, and will relay details that change during missions. They're all garbled and staticky, and the population level of the infested in the level is 666. They funnel into the dead end room that Nair's Ember is in, and after a valiant effort, the frame is dropped. However, it's not game over like it should. The game is acting like there are other people in the level to help Nair's Warframe and resuscitate them. It didn't just go to a simple game over and then you have to restart the whole mission. The infested just swarm over the body and then after a bit leave the room, and to which the Ember frame gets back up, shambling and horribly mutated from infestation. Parts of it are flayed off or peeled away, and there's infection kind of leaking out. And a little bit more strange and a little bit stranger, Nair suddenly gets control of this Warframe again, as this new version. They're freaked out, but they continue playing and just cut down enemies, which are not just the infested. They're also fighting the other faction, the Grineer, which are basically clone super soldiers. However, they're acting freaked out at this infested Warframe. After finishing the mission, i.e., cutting down and gunning through all of these, all the targets they need to do, Nair brings the Ember frame to the exit platform, and the infested Warframe goes into the pickup ship as normal for extraction. However, as the scoreboard interface pops up, instead of the Lotus, we get an infested model pop up in her place, to congratulate the player for helping to spread the infestation across the stars. The game then crashes as Nair's laptop overheats. When he picks up the game again, after his laptop's cooled off and such, Everything seems fine, and he tries to find clues as to what happened online, but gets nothing. And that's about the story. That's Finn. So, I suppose we shall move on to everyone tolerates the Grammar Inquisitions at this point, and boy howdy do I have a lot of them.
Yeah.
So let's just start off at the top here. A new creative breakout that shows a group of persons' dedication to and drive to a project among good gameplay and details. I think it should be peoples, not persons. Like person generally to me is like a singular, whereas people can be singular or plural. Especially when you're doing like a group of people's dedication, or like a group of persons' dedication. For me, for some reason, just doesn't really like it. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one on that. And then we get into this one. You have to understand when Update 7 launched. Oh wow. Sorry. Realizing we're in 2021 at this point, and Warframe's still technically an open beta, right?
Yeah,
Or is it
open beta and it's update 30?
Yeah. Oh, only
Yeah.
update 30? I thought it was a lot more. We were a lot farther along than that.
Oh, there's been so many updates. That's just mainline updates.
Oh, okay, yeah, because they do like 30 point blah 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 blah, like number.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, you have to understand when Update 7 launched, even those who had been in the closed beta longer than I had was in a similar boat, left with pages upon pages of expensive to use fusion cores and no actual mods to equip on gear. And a lot of Warframe's power progression desperately relies on those mods to make your character more survivable and damage output skyrocket. That's all one fucking sentence.
Yeah, it really is.
So a tad run on, but also, I think it should be were instead of was, with even those who had been in the closed beta longer than I had were in a similar boat, not was in a similar boat.
Yep.
Because again,
After boat is when I chopped it. Like that's the end of a sentence.
Yeah, for sure.
Then just start the next one with "we were left with pages upon pages."
Yeah, no, 100%. Because just like, give us a break, literally.
I actually chopped it into 3 sentences. Did you rewrite it or not?
I did not rewrite it, but
okay. So mine stopped after boat, and then it went. We were left with pages upon pages of expensive to use fusion cores, no actual mods to equip on gear. Period. A lot of Warframe's power progression desperately relies on those mods to make your character more survivable and your damage output skyrocket.
Bam. Done.
Put your in there as well.
Yeah.
It's natural.
Yeah. No, that it fits. All right. On to the next one here. You get hints of it every so often, but it took to finding a gathering place of lore on the forums to get a true picture. Hang on. But it took to finding... Okay, yeah. So this might be a nitpick. I didn't really like the 2 in between took and finding there. I feel like it should have been like just get rid of it, and so it just says but it took finding a gathering place of lore on the forums to get the true picture.
Yeah.
Again, might be like a bit of a nitpick. I mean, it grammatically, I think also like according to Google, my Google Doc, it's saying that's a grammatical error. But even reading it before I went in and tossed it into my Google Doc, I saw a problem there. So, and then we'll go on to this one. The Infested, otherwise known as the Technocyte Plague, were a biological weapon created ages ago by the Orokin, the allies of the player's race ages ago. But it has gone rouge, infesting sector after sector and corrupting the other 2 enemies in the setting, the clone soldier Grenier and the mostly robotic Corpus Proxies, into hellish, monstrous alien life, and seeking nothing more than to incorporate all matter to them. Again, very heavily run on. There's no periods. It's just commas, and then there's like a slight break to explain what the Grenier and the Corpus are. But that's about it.
Which is like dashed out, which isn't a period.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically like that dash is often used a lot with like either ... like in place of ... or as a bracket, like a sort of like where a bracket would go in to explain something.
Or to combine two words into a single word, like clone soldier or
yeah, it's like a bracket. It's like a bracket and then space, or a dash and then space. Would be the use for like when doing this sort of like breaking of a sentence. However, again, it doesn't. After like reading like that entire like paragraph long sentence, it kind of doesn't help.
Oh, I know for sure. I also broke this one up into 3 different sentences.
Okay, well, give me a second. Hang on, because I do have one actual like spelling error here. So while I know that the infested in the game can often be red or rouge, which is the French word for red, and what this story has in it, or what the sentence has in it, I think the word was supposed to be rogue. So like it's honestly just a typo error. Yeah, it's like ages ago, but it has gone rogue, not gone rouge. So
yeah,
it's literally just because it's literally just because the U is like it popped up too early in the word.
Yeah.
The G popped up too late.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the G like arrived at school with like a piece of toast in his mouth. Like, sorry, I'm late, guys.
Totally.
What'd I miss? French class? Shit. Anyway, my silliness aside, gamer, if you have a proper way to, or like a good way to like break up this paragraph long sentence.
Sure. Infested, otherwise known as a technocyte plague, were a biological weapon created ages ago by the Orokin, the allies of the player race ages ago. Period. So there's 2 ages ago there.
Yeah, it's like they mostly come at night.
Maybe remove
mostly.
the second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe remove the second ages ago. So okay, there you go. So period there. And from there I go. Problem is, it went rogue. So infesting sector after sector, corrupting the 2 enemies in the setting. Period. Large amounts of both the clone soldier Grenier and the mostly robotic Corpus proxies have been turned into hellish, monstrous alien life that seeks nothing more than to incorporate all matter into them.
Yeah.
Now, did you get the right then? Because it's supposed to be than.
Oh God! Okay, I have so many of those in my later on in my grammar inquisition. I missed one.
S. My backspace and my hitting of A came up on recording. Probably not, though.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
Fine.
We'll get some Foley work later, maybe.
Probably not. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. So I'll move on to my next one here. Even still, in the game, the creepiness of the infested was only the backseat attraction. Sorry, only a backseat attraction. And the gameplay was actually more enjoyable when fighting them instead of the other races, which cling to cover as soon as the Tenno sneezes in the wrong octave. So again, at this point, I'm just gonna I'm done making examples of the run-on sentences. The story has a lot of run-on sentences. But also, octave is spelled wrong. In the story, it's spelled OCTIVE, when it should be OCTAVE, like octave. But it's pronounced generally octave because the human language or because the English language sucks. But yeah. And my next one here. The level progressed as normal, with the infested eventually appearing here and there, swiftly being met into the end of my shotgun or my recently acquired Lato Vandal. I think it should be met by the end of my shotgun, not into the end of my shotgun. Just like sinking the shotgun deep into the infested and then blowing a hole through their chest, maybe. But yeah, generally the term is generally the turn of phrase is like met by the end of my shotgun, or like met at the end of at the end of my shotgun. is generally the like when you're pointing a gun when you point a gun at somebody and they finally realize they're at the end of a gun.
At to the end of my shotgun or by, yeah.
Yeah, by or at maybe. But yeah, I will move on. I remember marveling at my good fortune, being able to loot in relative peace, but each fight slowly whittled my health under my shield. Well, yeah, they're being whittled down piece by piece, because in relative peace is spelled like pieces, like to fall apart into pieces. So it's supposed to be in relative peace, as in like peace and harmony. So PEACE, not PIECE. Again, simple typo, but I had to make a little funny about it. And my next one here. And then suddenly Lotus's image popped up, stating that I think I just found another typo. Stating that the mission had changed, and now I had an extermination orders. So first, my original issue with the sentence was either have it had an extermination order, which is singular, or had extermination orders, which is plural. So like you have multiple extermination orders. But I think in this case, it just need to remove the S at the end of order in the sentence. And then, guys, is that how you say statting or like stating? Is there? Okay, it is. Okay. That is, I guess, statting, which is like to stat something, would be 2 T's. Right?
Yeah, because it's stat-ting.
Yeah.
Compared to stating.
Yeah. Okay. So I will move on. What was odd, however, was 2 things. Nope. It's supposed to be were two things. So
you and your tenses, man.
hey, man, we've established this over the course of this entire show. My big hiccup. Exactly. My big gripe is tenses. Mainly because it was a problem I always had as a child when I was writing.
Yeah.
My next one here. First, I heard a great many cries of infested enemies, more than I was used to hearing. So this is the first case I had where so more than, it's supposed to be more than. So remove the E, add an A so that it's more than I was used to. And the next one, enemies left, 666. By far more than usual. Another case of the than. So again, replace the E with an A. But also, continuing on, by far more than usual for this type of mission, which the most I've seen hitting to around 120 or so. So that last part, I think, needs like the which is WHICH, not witch as in like the cackling witch. But I think that word needs to be with. So it would play out enemies left 666, by far more than usual for this type of mission, with the most I've seen hitting to around 120 or so.
Just the most I've seen is around 120 or so.
Just the most I've seen also would work too.
Not even just. No, I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm not saying put the word just in there. I'm saying remove that first word entirely and just say the most I've seen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would also work too. Yeah. Okay. So, and moving on to the next one. It took only a few seconds before my health reached rock bottom. It needs that past tense of reached rock bottom. Like add that extra ED at the end of reach. And my next one here. Instead of immediately ragdolling, my character fell back, as if there was others in the game. It needs to be were others in the game. Also, should maybe clarify. Maybe have some clarification here. I think, like, again, this might be a nitpicky thing, but
no, I had the same thing written down.
Okay, where my character fell back in a prone position on the floor, as if there were other players in the game to revive me. It does mention like a hot sec, like literally the next sentence later, about the reviving thing. But I honestly thought the character was retreating back, not falling like to the ground dead, or like in a prone position.
Yeah.
So like waiting to be revived. So like I just sort of like some like better clarity on the sentence. Maybe elaborate more on to like the character fell back into a prone position on the floor. Just to help like kind of build up on that. So
just clarified it down to my character fell back waiting to be revived.
There, yeah, that works too. Yeah. And then my next one here. On this situation, until they spotted Ember directly, they did the same thing. I think in this situation, not on this situation. You're not sitting on this situation. You're sitting in this situation. No, you're sitting in. He's in a meditative stance, looking at the planets of the star system. Moving on. Finally, it was over. The Grineer were exterminated. Oh, sorry. I did the right thing. Sorry. The Grineer was exterminated. I think you want the Grineer were exterminated because I don't think it's talking about a singular Grineer. I think it's talking about the Grineer as the faction that's in the level they're fighting in. But I digress. I'll move on. Thoroughly creeped out by the experience, I set off to the exit, now actively skipping loot as I rushed to figure out just what was going on. So, thoroughly is the word you're looking for at the end there, or at the beginning there. So, like, I think it's literally just missing the OR after TH in the because the way it is in the story, it's THOUGHLY, where it should be THOROUGHLY. So again, just a simple spelling error, like happens to the best of us, but I got to bring it up because it's a typo, and this is the Grammar Inquisition. Note my torch and pitchfork. On to the next one. As soon as the game changed to loading, the entire computer cut off. Or sorry, the entire computer cut out, making me jump from the overrush of tension. I'm pretty sure overrush needs 2 R's to make it a proper word. So, and my final Grammar Inquisition. Now that we are 30 minutes into this recording. Now, before you suddenly mock this, the reason was actually mundane. My fault for having a rather hard-to-ventilate laptop for my gaming uses. Conveniently, my grinding session turned horror story had overheated the device to the point where it had shut down due to overheat. I hate this. This is like this note here. I have a couple of notes on this one, and one of them is actual thoughts, but I also had a bunch of Grammar Inquisition issues with it. So we're gonna get a little bit of actual thought bleeding into my Grammar Inquisition here. I hate this sentence, or I hate this like paragraph because it's sabotaging any attempt at a creepiness by making the whole situation mundane. Like that's our job. We're supposed to make the story
to do that critically silly.
yeah, exactly. But seriously, this explain away really did kind of bug me because it like kind of ruins any attempt to make the story creepy. However, onto the actual Grammar Inquisition at hand. My annoyance was even more so added on by the repetition of the word overheat at the end. Like again, like we said earlier, like there's like with one of the other words where it was repeated 2 times. You don't need to add that ending part where you don't have to have the overheat at the end because it's mentioned right at the beginning of the sentence, or at the beginning of that part of the sentence. Because again, this is sort of this kind of run on. The grinding session turns horror story had overheated the device to the point where it had shut down. Period. Don't need to have due to overheat.
He wants to make sure that you know it's just mundane here.
Okay, yeah.
Don't
So
worry.
he's dark. So he's Dark Helmet, just looking at the audience. Everybody got that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Also, it's conveniently, not conveniently. Again, another spelling typo, sort of error. In the story, it's spelled CONVIENTY. And conveniently is spelled CONVENIENTLY. So, again, simple mistake. But that is the end of my. That's where I'm going to leave off on my grammar inquisition. So, Mikey, here's the pit. I'm just going to throw you the torch and pitchfork. Oh God, watch yourself. I'm out.
Shouldn't throw it like pitchfork first.
Yeah.
All right.
He lives. No, sorry.
So let's see here. I have one run on that is one that you didn't do.
After the third one, I was like, okay, here. I've given examples that this story has a lot of run-ons. Fix it.
Yeah, I had 3 examples as well, but you got 2 of them.
Gotcha.
I just have another one. As I started the mission, watching Ember drop from the convenient ventilation shaft the PCs always spawn from, nothing was out of the ordinary for the mission, and enemy-involved corrupted mass of the infected's work scattered walls, floors, and ceilings, and strange lights flitted about in the area randomly, as if insects were drawn to the various pockets of biomatter.
God damn it!
You missed that.
I didn't miss it. I just gave up after 3.
Fair.
I just gave up after
you
3.
Did just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also gave up at 3, so that was.
Just like fuck.
Oh,
it.
ye of little faith.
Oh, Gamer, did you go for the completionist?
I don't think I did.
Feat. Oh, God damn it!
I didn't attempt to. Whether I did or not, I don't know.
Okay, well, let's find out. First, yeah, Mikey. Yeah, that's a run on.
Yep.
Gamer, do you have a way to fix it?
I was about to ask Mikey if he already did that.
No, I didn't.
Cool. So I broke it up right after enemy involved. So started the mission watching Ember drop from the convenient ventilation shafts the PCs always spawn from. Nothing was out of the ordinary for the mission and the enemy involved. Period. Corrupted masses of the infested's work scattered the walls, floors, ceilings, blah 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 blah.
Right. That's some good work there, Gabriel.
Thanks.
All right. So my next note here is we have 2 paragraphs that begin with the same words. So the first one starts with, even still, the infected always, I don't know, creeped me out when I learned of the lore. And then the next paragraph, even still, in the game, the creepiness of the infested was only a backseat attraction, and the gameplay was actually more enjoyable when fighting them instead of the other races, which cling to cover as soon as a Tenno sneezes in the wrong octave.
Yeah. So if you expand your view out a little bit more too, the paragraph right above your first one there was as a result, and the paragraph right after your second one that you mentioned was as I started the mission.
Yeah.
And as I did this, and as I did that.
Yeah. Which brings me to my next grammar inquisition, is that there's two sentences that start with the same thing.
No.
Basically, one's at the end of a paragraph and the other's at the beginning of the paragraph. And they both start with as a result.
Yeah.
So it's as a result, I wasn't too keen on trying my luck with moving to the latter sectors with tougher enemies, as even my fully leveled Volt could do little in his current state. As a result, I set my sights on a level in the Venus sector, a mission that featured the infested enemies in a capture mission type.
Yeah. They mostly come at night. Mostly.
Yeah. So I'm scrolling through because I'm looking specifically at the starts of these now, and I'm seeing 3 paragraphs that start with and then.
Oh no!
And then.
No, and then. Oh wow! Yeah. There's also I'm seeing a lot of like my the quotes I have are like, as Ember finally blah blah blah. As soon as the game blah 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 blah. Like it just as and thens are used a lot in this story.
Yes.
This almost seems like a conjunction junction.
Yeah.
Be part of it.
Well, I didn't use as though, so I have standards.
That's what we love about you. You have standards.
And then there's...
God damn it. It's infectious. It's a mimetic virus.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So my next grammar inquisition...
this is going to be like me fighting...
Choose your words wisely from now on.
Yeah, this is going to be like me trying to fight I Digress.
Yes.
Alright. But that was impossible. I was playing solo. There was noon there to revive me. It should have downed me. So it should be no one, not noon with an E.
It's an honest mistake because
online.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Playing co-op.
It's an honest. It really is an honest mistake because like so many people like do that. Like they think that that's a compound word, but it isn't. It's no one. It's not. There is no contraction to that word.
Yep. Then the next one I have. As Ember finally got to her feet again, she suddenly convulsed, her model twisting and writing.
Oh shit! I totally yeah. Okay, damn it. Dear Vault, what is this What is this Tenno done to my like? What is this Tenno done to me? He sent me into the infested area. Does he not know that these? She just starts writing a letter.
Did not catch that.
Yeah, I literally read it. I read right over it as like twisting and writhing.
Yeah,
yes.
With an H. Yeah.
Yeah.
One letter away.
Yeah. Damn it. Yep.
Makes all the difference.
It really does. It's a fickle thing, that written language.
All right, and then I have a conjunction junction.
All right, insert conjunction junction blip here. Boop.
It's why I'm still relatively active in many of the more unique online games, such as Iron Grip Marauders and Firefall, whereas others would have gotten bored after development stagnation sets in. It wasn't until Update 7 hit where I was able to return to my latest hobby. And, after all, it's just a game. It couldn't really do anything, right? It was a simple matter. One shotgun blast and he was down. Then a quick press of the X key and he was gathered. And then suddenly, Lotus's image popped up, stating that the mission had changed, and now I had an extermination orders. And then there was the counter for the target. And coming. It took just one to strike me, draining my energy, my one source of solace in this strange glitch of a Zerg rush, for lack of a better term, gone. It took only a few seconds before my health reached rock bottom. And then the oddness continued. But that was impossible. I was playing solo. There was noon there to revive me. It shouldn't have downed me. It was hard to even see my character at this rate, due to all the bodies and entities in the area. And then my character started to get to her feet. And then, slowly, she'd grow idle, grasping the shotgun and holding it limply after it had fallen to the floor with her change. And then, suddenly, a infested face popped onto the screen where Lotus usually appears, reminding me a lot of the responses when fighting the Golem boss, and a deep, gravelly voice filled my speakers. Excellent work, Reborn. Now, our influence will flow through the stars, and it is all thanks to you. But even still, a part of me can't forget the last phrase spoken by the infested. Finn.
So I have a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
First thing, my mind went to a gutter for a moment when you got to about the counter, and then they started coming.
Yeah.
and then she got struck, or then Ember got struck by something. I was like, oh god.
As soon as I read that there was a sentence that is just "and coming," I'm like, oh god, that's going to show up in the worst place.
Yeah, and then the next sentence he brought up was about her health getting taken with every strike. I was like, oh god, it's Warframe Bukkake.
Okay, I didn't go there.
Don't Google Bukkake, guys. But the other thing I had about that was I feel like it might be a little too distracting, but part of me really wants to edit in no and then every time you're saying and then
yeah.
But I think it would be too distracting for the story or for the
You're mentioning it now. That's all that matters.
Exactly. But yeah. That's what I got.
Mm-hmm.
For those unaware, Mikey does these strings of sentences to string together all the sentences that start with words that they shouldn't, like it's, ands, or buts, because there's always better words.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll move on. Oh, sorry.
That's the end of my grammar Inquisition. Yep.
Okay. Then I guess we will move on to Gamer.
Okay. Are we going to be completely honest? When you were starting to do your grammar stuff, Cultist, I was finishing my final thoughts. I caught some of the ones you were saying, but I may have missed one or two. So if I start reading something that you 100% talked about,
I have my notes I'm back at the top of my notes to watch for them. So.
Cool. All right. So my first one is the writer's note at the start.
Okay, yeah.
I've put a lot of thought and effort into this to make it as best as possible. Maybe it's like a regional dialect thing, but as best as possible sounds off to me. I would write it as make it the best it can be, or make it as good as possible. As best as possible just seems off.
I hear what you. I I hear what you're saying, and it's like I get it. Yeah, it might be original dialect thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe
It
it's just
did
like
not
a
start me off on the
localized
right
thing.
foot, though.
No.
Especially with him saying, "I'm going to make this." His line of saying that he's going to make it as good as he can. I had a problem with.
He's like Ash Ketchum in the Pokemon show. It's like, I'm gonna be the very best, like no one ever was. Like, oh Ash, you simple 10-year-old.
Oh,
Because he's just like so ambitious, just like pat his head.
of course. Right,
I say after reading the story. Yeah.
Here's a run-on that you may or may not have brought up. After a short jaunt through Mercury to boost my combative capabilities and get used to my character's more close-range loadout, I decided that, as I was simply trying to grind out this character anyway, I would use the opportunity to gather materials for another new Warframe to pass the time and give me a goal.
I did not get that one.
Cool, that's one sentence.
Mm-hmm. That is a long sentence.
It is.
Yep.
I actually chopped out entire sections that were completely unnecessary to make it shorter and more succinct and everything.
Okay.
After a short jaunt through Mercury to get used to the character's more close-range loadout, I decided that to give me a goal. Huh? Hang on. Technical difficulties here. Why is that underlined? Hang on. What?
Like construction work going on in the background.
Yeah. I don't understand why I underlined this part. Like, perioded that out. Probably should just be a comma. I fucking know. I'll read it as is, and let's see if this is run on or not. After a short jaunt through Mercury to get used to the character's more close-range loadout, I decided that to give me a goal, I would use the opportunity to gather materials for another new Warframe.
That's a pretty standard sentence, I think.
Okay, I think I accidentally put a period down. Or because I put an underline underneath this section for some dumb reason, it made the comma look like a period and confused the hell out of me.
Okay.
Where's that underlined? I think it's because it doesn't matter. Either way, that's that. This is my only run-on that you did not get.
Oh, is that the only other? Really? Okay.
Oh, I got 3 other ones, but it's been talked about.
Yeah.
Actually, I found another one. Never mind. I lied.
Okay. Remember, I lied. Sorry.
Actually, wait. No, this was talked about. I just didn't put a mark on it. Okay.
Okay.
I lied about lying.
Oh, no. All right. So was that it then?
No. I hadn't noticed then, but in retrospect, I believe that there was something odd, period. As if the hordes were more intense, but more spread out. So, to fix the front as, just replace the front as with it was as if the hordes were more intense. So you're just as if.
So you're replacing the as with an it?
Yeah.
Mikey?
I'm also commoing it together.
Okay.
I'm in hot water, aren't I?
A little bit. We just got out of the conjunction. Does Mikey need to do an it story based on your edits?
No.
Yeah.
It's not that long when you combine it. It would be. I had noticed then, but in retrospect, I believe that there was something odd. It was as if the hordes were more intense, but more spread apart. There's a lot of commas in there, but it's not overly long.
Okay. Fair enough. I think my issue was I thought that the it started at the beginning of a new sentence.
No.
Okay.
My whole problem with it was sentence as if the hordes were more intense.
Yeah.
Is can't really stand on its own. So if anything, instead of a period, that should be a semicolon.
Okay.
Because it's directly related to the previous sentence. So if they have to be separated, combine them that way. I think that's how semicolons work. I hate semicolons, but I think that's their function.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on. Gritting my teeth, I started spawning my abilities as the horde began. think like a word like casting my abilities might be more adequate.
Yeah. I did notice that the story, like they also bring up like their abilities like spells.
They basically are, dude. They're
I mean, yeah, you're right, but I mean,
wizard
it's not.
ninjas.
But it isn't something that's like really. I don't think that vernacular is really brought up in Warframe.
It's not, but it's the truth, honestly.
Yeah.
How else do you explain that otherwise than magic?
Abilities, powers, potatoes.
But whatever. That's true. And this one was brought up in the conjunction junction, but not really brought up otherwise. The horde kept coming and coming, period. And coming, period. So, find that together.
Yep. Oh, it just kept coming. Poor Ember.
So much gutterness. Okay.
All that technocyte plague.
Totally. So, this one is the start of a new paragraph. It starts like this, and then the oddness continued. Like that's the entire first sentence.
Yeah, that
of a
could
new
be
paragraph.
Yeah, they don't even need. I don't even think you need it.
Well, I'm not against the oddness continuing. It's just it's phrased weird. Like I would put it. Surprisingly, the oddness continued even in death. This is saying that even after my character got killed, there was still weird shit happening. It didn't just kick me out to the main screen.
Gotcha.
So I'm fine with that. I watched the timer finally hit 0. I was yet again surprised as the creatures, for no discernible reason, suddenly moved slowly out of the room. I feel like the timer should be kind of explained here. I wasn't sure if it was like a mission timer or something that was talking about. If it just said, as I watched the bleed out timer finally hit 0.
I think that's what it meant.
Well, I know that's what it means, but because it's not elaborated, it could mean anything.
Yeah.
He's in this weird situation where this game isn't working the way it normally is, so for all I know, he is infinitely in bleed out. But there's a mission timer, and he has to like crawl to extraction or something. I don't know.
Gotcha.
And after Ember gets changed, then slowly she'd grow idle, grasping the shotgun and holding it limply after it had fallen to the floor with her change. So I kind of thought she had the shotgun the whole time, but the way it's saying it, it's meaning that she dropped it on the floor when she started to mutate and then reached down to pick it back up after her mutation finished. But that's not how it was really said.
It's sort of in this case, I think it was like a read between the lines. Like she now grasped the shotgun that she had dropped previously. But so like they skipped the whole. Sorry.
Yeah, but when you explain stuff at the end like that, you have to rethink all of the visuals you just had in your head. Redo the entire thing. But if you lead with the actions as they happen, then there's no backtracking. No?
I think we found your what really grinds your gears on the show. Because honestly, to me, that most of the time that doesn't bug me. But
bugs me all the fucking time.
I know, yeah.
The way I would change it is, and slowly she'd reach down, grasping the shotgun that had fallen to the floor with her change, holding it limply. That's how you would change that part. However, previous to that, there's the line about her starting to mutate. I would add this to the end. Ember finally got to her feet again. She suddenly convulsed, her model twisting and writhing as her shotgun fell from her hands. And then after all that stuff happens, then she reaches down and picks it up. You're describing the scene as it's happening, instead of having to go over it with whiteout.
Just mentally white out your face. White your face. Mentally white out your mind, your theater of the mind. No, I get you. I get you. No, it's a valid perspective. It's about like.
No, I'm not. Nothing's fine. It's your gutterness that's making me face.
Oh no, that's God damn it! That's not what I meant.
You said white out the face.
That's not. Oh God.
Anyways, last one. Suddenly, infested face popped onto the screen. Be Anne infested face.
I wow, I typo-nized that. I went right over it. Yeah.
And then I'm done.
Okay. So, on to actual thoughts. Gonna start with this. As Ember finally got to her feet again, she suddenly convulsed, her model twisting and writhing. I watched in horror as the suit that made her frame tore, revealing pale, sickly skin, just like the infested. Several tears had outcrops of the infection rip out, twisting into macabre shapes as they hung from her body. Her shoulders swelled, leaving her in a hunched form. And then... fuck.
And then...
And then suddenly she'd grow idle, grasping the shotgun and holding it limply after it had fallen to the floor with her change. In shock, I let go of the mouse, accidentally bumping it and seeing the camera swivel. I seemed to have control again. But a part of me was wanting to escape the game to not continue. And to this I say, why? At this point, it's still just a fucking game. As much as I love creepypastas and creepy video game experiences like this, like where something weird and fucked up happens in a game, my go-to reaction here would be, this must be some new game mode or some weird effect in the game or something. I'm not immediately thinking the supernatural is upon us. I must flee for the hills away from my laptop.
But he didn't. He straight up said that
He
maybe
literally
they stuck
says,
this in.
No, he literally says, it seemed to have control. I seem to have control again, but a part of me was wanting to escape the game, to continue and to not continue.
Yes, but I'm saying soon after that, he's saying
I
shit
know
about how they must have snuck this in a patch or something.
Then I think
He immediately rationalizes his outrageous claim.
And to this, I feel like that last part then should just be removed because it's unnecessary for the it diminishes the creepiness. Like, to me, this entire story definitely feels like that case of Vigipastas that we've had on the show before, where the story would be way more scary if it had been written as though in the world of Warframe, like as the Tenno piloting a Warframe, from the perspective, or so like not a video game being played by somebody whose frame just suddenly became a zombie version of themselves in the game, because it doesn't affect that player at all. Like, at least with the Tenno, it does affect them because they're inside the Warframe piloting it. Or have the infestation begin manifesting on the player in the real world. Like, as their frame has been infected, so has the player. And then like maybe some strange rashes on their arms or something. And it gets worse the more they play the game.
I have the exact same thing written down.
Yeah. Like, those are kind of my two ways of like trying to like of kind of building off of this basic. I do like the idea of this story, like of like a Warframe, like you're playing the Warframe game and then your Warframe gets infested. But it's got to do more than just like, then I could play the game as this infested, and then I got this weird message at the end, and that was weird. Anyway, and actually, I'll continue on with that in my next comment, or my next quote and comment. So the message, however, was garbled and static, and an effect I had never seen in the game before. But at this rate, that was par for the course, as something specifically wrong was going on. And again, maybe this is just because like we are, I guess we're almost, are we 10 years into Warframe's life cycle?
It's 8 or 9.
It's 8 or 9, yeah. So like, to me, I was like, my reaction was not really. Like, that's not really anything weird or strange, like the staticky and garbled like
9 years ago, yes, it was.
That's what I was. Yeah, that was my counter to my first reaction. Was like, well, yeah, I've been playing this game into its later stages, so like this stuff happened, or so. But in the early days, I guess Lotus wouldn't have had like weird transmissions pop up like that, or weird like transition distortions and stuff. And then we get the actual like the addressing of the supposedly of the player at the end with the golem boss-esque model kind of character. And then suddenly an infested's face popped onto the screen where the lotus usually appears, reminding me a lot of the responses when fighting the golem boss, and a deep, gravelly voice filled my speakers. Excellent work, Reborn. Now our influence will flow through the stars, and it is all thanks to you. And you see, that last bit there, that last like that what happens, like what comes out of the screen, like what is spoken to the player, would be so much creepier is if it ended with the player's name. Because it adds that extra level of metatextual like creepiness to a video game where the video game is aware of the player.
You mean his real name or his gamer tag?
I think it should be honestly the real name, like because the gamer
'cause
tag.
It's a gamer tag. It's already in the game. It already
Absolutely,
does that.
yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, no. It should be the real. It should be the person's real name. It's like, Jonathan Marcus Phoenix Esquire the Third. If that is your real name. Yeah, just like I really feel like that would add like an extra level of creepiness to the, like, again, like amp up. If you're gonna make a video game creepypasta, amp it up. Do not make it like if like you're it's fine to like base basic creepypasta of like a video game creepypasta off of an actual like real world like weird account you've had with a video game, like. But you've got to up the ante when you're writing a creepy story, because otherwise it's just a weird story, but there's no danger, there's no level of threat or dread from the game. It's just kind of like, well, that's kind of odd. Anyway, moving on.
It's an odd story, not a creepy. It's an
Exactly.
odd pasta, not a creepy pasta.
Exactly. Like Ben Drowned would be so much creepier, or would not be as creepy as it was, and we're not getting as much like kind of like the infamy that it had. If the guy played this Majora's Mask game with a Ben file on it, and like he saw some weird shit happen in the game, but nothing happened to him in real life. Like he had like hallucinations and like other things were like popping up in his real life while he was playing the game. Like it would not be as like, again, as iconic as a creepypasta like icon had it just been all in the game. So and my last actual thought here, I still play the game and I've never got the same reaction to happen again. But even still, a part of me can't forget the last phrase spoken by the infested, as if for a moment I had tread into their world. I mean, did you? Because like nothing, like I said earlier, nothing is specifically said to you. You merely interacted with a game as anyone would. So it was maybe just a weird glitch or like a weird like extra like thing that was modded or added into the game and is completely mundane. Also, quick grammar inquisition that I think we all missed. I had tread into their world. Tread should be TREAD, not TRED. I just noticed that.
I know. It's T-red, like the rouge earlier.
Oh,
the type of red.
Wait, I can't tell if you're making a joke or not.
Of course he is.
Damn it!
Color is T-red. Bring me a color wheel. Point out where T-red is.
It's right there next to fuck you.
I love that color.
I was trying to make like a Resident Evil joke, and I was like, it was just like failed. It's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go with the F-bomb.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, no, like by the end of the story I was like, okay, there's definitely some good soil here for a creepy video game pasta, but it just kind of he doesn't go on to like, water the plant or add like fertilizer or anything to it. It just sort of leaves it there and hopes that the seed grows.
Just a seed sitting in an empty bucket.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, there's no even soil there. It's just, yeah, he's got the seed. He puts it in a pot and then he walks away.
Just let this resolve itself.
Yeah. Like it's a good, like, and it is a good seed, but it needs to be nourished. But that's my actual thoughts before we go into final thoughts. So I will relinquish my hold of the mic to Mikey now.
Mike.
E. The E stands for evil.
Does often.
All right. So my first actual thought. I have a couple quotes here. I was fascinated with the game, and when I was allowed into closed beta, I was ecstatic. It wasn't until Update 7 hit where I was able to return to my latest hobby. And that's when I Googled the closed beta and found out that the closed beta didn't have an Update 7.
Update 7 is when the game went into open beta.
Yeah, I found that out later. But for a brief moment, I was like, is this the fabled Update 7 that never existed? And then
it's like a lost episode video pasta. And it's like that's why all this weird shit happened, was because he went into like the glitched out Update 7 for the closed beta.
But yeah. Later on, when I was looking up the weapon Lato Vandal, because I didn't know what it was.
Right? Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
Clearly just
Mikey has never played the game, so he's
yeah.
he's fumbling through the dark, hearing like rap tap tap, and just wondering what the hell that is.
And basically, that article about that weapon, it said it was introduced in Update 7. I was like, oh, okay. And then I did more looking into it, and Update 7 was the start of the open beta.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, that was given to anyone who participated in the closed beta when the game went open beta.
yeah. So I learned things.
Yeah, you are slowly being infested with Warframe knowledge as a person who has never played Warframe.
Yes.
Okay.
Same with our audience. You're welcome.
So my next actual thought sort of mirrors Review Cultist in the fact that nothing really happens in the real world and everything happens in game, which seems very plausible that it could happen in a game because games do things.
Yeah.
Games do things. You're right.
Like I feel like over the course of this show, you guys have like kind of nudged me toward like the fact that like dreams and games in stories need to have more than just be a dream or just be a game. Because like in the real world, like I've had an experience where I bought a Zelda game for the DS or for the 3DS, and there was a Ben file on it, and I immediately pushed the 3DS away, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Like I had a visceral reaction in reality up to it. It's like, oh shit, like because it was a used version of the game. And I even remember going back to the EB Games like a week or so later, and told the clerk that gave me it. I was like, "Yeah, so are you aware of a Majora's Mask creepypasta, like a creepy video or creepy story on YouTube called Ben Drowned?" And he's like, "No." And then I explained to him the whole thing. He's like, "Wow, that's kind of weird." No, as far as I know, it's just like we didn't do it or anything like that. We just took the game and resold it. So like again, like. You can take those experiences that you have in real life of like a weird glitch or like a weird like kind of just spoopy moment that you have with a video game, but you've got to elaborate it and flourish it and let it grow and breathe in a story. Same thing with dreams. Like when you have like a weird ass dream, you can write it down and use it as inspiration for a story, but you can't just like transcribe the dream and then have the end is like, and then I woke up. Because nothing of import was lost because it was a dream. It didn't actually happen. You've got to add that element of, or did it? Like by having something dropped at the end that might like kind of make the audience or the reader or the character who's in the story question their own reality. Sorry, Mikey, I didn't mean to hop back onto the soapbox.
Yes. So, what I did to make it better was at the end where his computer overheats, have him walk away because it's like, oh well, it overheated. I gotta wait for it to cool down. So I walked away and grabbed lunch or something.
Yeah.
And then when he comes back, his computer is gone. Like it grew legs and walked away.
It became an infested laptop. Actually, I have another expand on that, if you will, if you let me.
Okay.
He goes like, he's like, well, that was weird. Well, I gotta wait for my computer to cool down. So he goes and like leaves his house, goes and grabs something to eat at like a fast food place. Comes back, and he opens his door, and his entire room is just coated with the infestation.
Yes.
all just sprouting from the laptop.
Both are real life repercussions of the things that happened in the story.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the technocyte virus has it crosses the dimensions between the game world and the real world. And then he gets infested.
Survived 600 enemies. All your fault. You should have got good, scrub.
Wow. Yeah. But yeah.
Same to my actual thoughts.
Okay. Then gamer.
Okay. Let's see.
Feel like I'm just going to be parroting you guys otherwise.
My first one is just, I'm glad we have a rough date on the writing of this one, because we often don't, because we have the Warframe update stuff to give us a rough date of 20.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Yeah. Yeah, I know. We get the update 7 and stuff like that. So yeah, we're actually able to like find the proper timeline for this story.
Then, in regards to his Ember Warframe, he says, after a short jaunt through Mercury to boost my combative capabilities and get used to the character's more close-range loadout. Based on that, if Ember was the first frame he made, it wasn't said that was the case.
Yeah, he did say that he had he had a stronger frame that was Volt.
Yep.
I know. I'm getting there.
Sorry, I didn't.
I'm making notes.
Sorry.
Through the story, it hasn't been mentioned Volt yet. So prior to the mention of Volt, all we know is Ember and close range loadout. So it wasn't said that this is the first new frame he made. But if that was the case, then maybe Mag was his starter, because Excalibur and Loki aren't exactly long range. Excalibur is a spell sword, and Loki's like a stealthy trickster guy. While Mag is like a female Magneto, so she can actually do more ranged-based stuff.
Interesting.
And like nowadays, when you start the game, you pick between Excalibur, Mag, and Volt. Volt is very much a very long-range guy, but back in the beta, you couldn't start with Volt. So when he brought up Volt later, I was confused. I'm like, wait, so is this written way after the fact? Like after 2014, when they swapped Volt to be a starter, and this was written after that point? Like, basically, did I find a plot hole, or is it just like, no, he has some other starter, and he also made Mag, and he also made Ember, which is all very possible. But also, at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter, because it has no bearing on the story whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I was questioning, because he said he had a fully leveled Volt, if it was possible to fully level things in the beta.
I would assume so. Anyway, on to my next one.
Okay. Actually, before you continue, I just realized I remember something from earlier that I completely gapped. I'm just like, I was looking at the tabs I have while we were going on with the Warframes and such, and was it you that mentioned it, or maybe Mikey did, about the about how he was a pretty avid gamer in like he was pretty into like all the like the games of the time, like the popular games of the time, like Iron Grip Marauders and Firefall. And that actually got me thinking. I looked up Iron, because I've never heard of Iron Grip Marauders. I've at least heard of Firefall.
Okay.
And I was like, what, like, yeah, because Firefall was that like weird, like aliens have invaded and now we're like trying to get resources. I think.
I don't know either of them, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I've never heard. Iron Grip Marauders looks like it's an RTS. It's a free to play RTS game.
Okay.
Like it's an online war game with 3D turn-based battles. Firefall is like another free to play. Maybe it wasn't at the time. And it was it's like a third person, or it's open world shooter that where you're like basically going and like touching down on like either places in the world that have been taken over, or by like basically touching down on alien planets, like fire, like and attacking aliens or something like that. But yeah, no, it was just something that was like, wait, I've never heard of Iron Grip Marauders. What the game is that? And I was like, at least I had heard of Firefall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyways, I apologize. Continue.
Okay. So my next one. Quote is, and after all, it's just a game. You couldn't really do anything, right? So when I read that, I was like, I hope this is foreshadowing of a real life attack on the player. And like,
that'd be good.
Yeah, and like how by the end of the story it's revealed that he's like locked in his attic or basement writing this down with his remaining good hand before the infestation takes control of his mind.
Yeah, he had to like cut off his other hand.
I'm just saying that it mutated into a weird mass of tentacles and claws.
Yeah.
That sort of thing would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's what happens, is what I thought in the time, in the moment.
But you were wrong. You were very, very wrong.
Poor past me. Didn't know.
Oh, sweet naive past you.
Next one.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this counter for the targets. Enemies left 666.
The number of the beast.
Number of the beast aside, I've mentioned this to others before, just while talking about Warframe, while playing Warframe. Specifically wishing for this kind of scenario where there's just like a wave of infested flesh that are assaulting the player. The infested are awesome. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'm not going to sully their good name by any means.
But, no, they're cool. Like they're really fucking creepy, and like they stem from the old game that like Warframe kind of spun out of, which was Dark Sector with the Tennyson.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, for sure. Like I do wish there was way more of them on screen at once.
Yeah.
So oddly enough, that part of the terror in this was less scary and more of a dream scenario for me.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like,
so it was like less of like, yeah, it's like, oh man, this is terrifying. And you're like, yeah, this is terrifying.
Yeah. Intense. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because like, it's specifically a Sebastian is who I had this conversation with about how like, we love Warframe, but I wish there was way more infested that just rushed you.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found EDF, that kind of
filled that
thirst. There's so many enemies on screen. If it was like that with the infested, it'd be amazing.
I'm surprised there's not like a horde mode, like an infested horde mode in Warframe.
Well, there's survival missions, which are basically what
horde
mode is in most games.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not like, again, like not what we're like. What you want, it seems, is more like what like Left 4 Dead does, or like Back 4 Blood, maybe even like where like they just throw hundreds of enemies at you at once.
Yeah, because it's always they spawn like 20, 30 enemies that come attack you, and then that wave is over, and then they spend 20 or 30 enemies, and they come attack you.
And I wonder if that's also like a limit of the tech, but
I mean, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
you'd think that. I don't know. It regardless, that sort of thing would be cool one way or another.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Massive amount of enemies, and like you have to keep falling back because there's so many guys.
Yeah, and if you choose the wrong room, you're going to get just clusterfucked.
Yes. Then we get to this part. As the counter reached 300, several ancient disruptors, in brackets, those that drain a player's shield and energy, charge the room. I like how the writer has been like chiming in with this sort of thing, explaining things like enemies, frames, and etc. in a way that helps people unaware understand what's going on. Yeah,
that is definitely a good point for the story.
And then we get to the point where it goes infested. So as cool as the whole transformation is, I don't know if it's something that can happen within the lore of Warframe. It's like,
Yeah. Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay. I'll stop.
Because, like, yes, this was written way back around the time of the closed beta. So this may or may not have been mentioned in the game before or even thought of by the devs at the time. But Tenno are immune to the infestation. That being said, the community have gotten infested skins of many Warframes added to the game. So if you want that visual, there's a bunch of different frames that can have an infested look.
Yeah.
So that was my first note. And then I started making more notes, and then I was just thinking more and more about it. And I'm like, hang on. And I went back and added to this. After thinking about it, you know what? This fucking would happen in the game, in the current lore. Because, okay, Second Dream spoilers. So if anyone is
planning on playing the game or hasn't gotten there yet in Warframe, big spoilies. Please chime in at this timestamp. Boop. The timestamp is 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 40 seconds. Boop. Thanks, future me.
Okay, cool. So the player's both called Tenno and Operator by enemies and your AI companion orders throughout the game. Both are true. The thing is, a Warframe and a Tenno are not the same thing. Tenno are the pilots of the Warframes, controlling them remotely, basically. Not basically, they are. The Tenno themselves are immune to the infestation, but I don't think the Warframes are, especially since Nidus, there's a Warframe called Nidus, and he is an infested Warframe that you can just make and use.
Well, sorry, I just like, because I do remember, I do recall I think it was during Second Dream or like maybe one of the further down the line quest lines, Ballas, the Orican that helped like start up the Warframe project, didn't he use infestation to create the Warframes, the original ones?
Yes,
by infesting their servitor race, the Dax.
Yeah, he was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that was that was the Umbra questline, I believe. The sacrifice is where we kind of learn about the because up until the sacrifice, we all thought like there was the big kind of theory that they were just like meat golems inside techno suits, right?
Well,
we didn't.
Or
we thought they were made of like some kind of like Orican like flesh matter, and they weren't actually people inside.
Yeah.
But then we find out kind of later that they were the original Warframes were people that have been turned into these basically these super soldiers for the Orican Empire.
Yeah, the original prototypes. The ones that you use now are basically farmed flesh that you turn into the Warframes.
Yeah.
When you go to Cetus, and there's the tower with the guy like shaving off a huge slab of meat from the Orcan meat tower. That's what it's for. It
really does kind of like, honestly, every time I see that Cetus tower like cinematic, it kind of harkens back to me the days of like whaling, where they just like take strips of a whale and like start harvesting the blubber and stuff like that.
Much, yeah. But
yeah, just sorry.
But either way, Nidus is a thing. Nidus is an infested Warframe.
Yes.
So I tried looking up to find specifics on his lore. I didn't look too deep. I assume he's a standard Warframe that got infested, and then they just
they decided to make that his specialty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's a case, then all the Warframes going in could be potentially puppeted.
Yeah,
they're killed.
No, for sure. Like it's definitely something like, I mean, maybe it's like, yeah, they used they infected the Warframes originally were created to combat the infest. No, they were originally created to combat the sentients, the AIs that went rogue and became like far superior, like far more than their original programming and like shackles. And the go-to countermeasure for the Orican was to create the Warframes from infestation to counteract the sentience.
Not quite. Sentience came first. They made them. They're great, and then they had a Geth uprising, and then they're not great anymore. And the Orican are like, okay, shit. Well, fuck you guys. Here's something called the infestation. You go die now. Oh God, we're all dying now.
Because we unleashed a zombie plague upon the soul system, upon the origin system.
Like,
Oh
okay,
God!
let's take some of this tech and modify some of our dudes into Warframes to combat the infestation. They were mainly made to combat the infestation, but as a byproduct, they're also made to fight the sentients.
Yeah. And then they rebelled. Man, the Orkin just the Orkin are really just like that. You'd think they'd learn after like two failed projects or like two failed groups that turned on them. Like
we know of.
Don't make exactly. Don't make and enslave fucking like a servitor species. But I guess that is the hubris of the Orkin Empire or of any empire, really. Like let's look at the Romans. Let's look at the British Empire. Like let's Don't the whole like high and mighty like imperial classes are just a bad thing in general.
Never turns out good.
No.
The last thing I had to say is like and before someone says like in the Warframes can't be puppeted because they don't have like proper brain or a soul in them or anything like that. Corpus robots can be puppeted. The infestation just grows on them, grabs them, and like puppets them externally or maybe worms in internally. So it's doable.
Yeah, 100%. Also, I'm pretty sure like it does seem like some Warframes, anyways, are at least nowadays in the lore, we're starting to kind of see that the Warframes can act independently, or are starting to kind of act a little bit independently.
It's only Umbra.
Wasn't there something in? Maybe I'm mixing it up with the sacrifice, but I thought like when you do the second dream, like there's a moment where like you're controlling your Warframe who's taking your Tenno back to his pod or his or her
because
pod.
Your Tenno hadn't woken up at that point.
Oh, okay. So that was actually you just okay. So you were
carrying yourself.
You weren't just like converting into energy and like popping into your Warframe. You were psychically like controlling the Warframe. So
you were
again,
Neo in the Matrix plugged into the battery wall.
Yeah.
Then you come and get yourself, and at that point you don't even know who the fuck it is. It's just there's this weird human-y thing. What the fuck is this? I gotta take this out of here. And then it's revealed to you that it's you. Yeah. Right. It's your mind. And body, actually.
Man, that was such a crazy revelation. Glad all of this is behind a spoiler wall.
That's probably enough. So spoiler wall ends right about now.
Boop. Welcome back to for those of you who did not listen to our very spoilerific talk about the Infested and Warframes and what have you. So,
my last actual thought is pretty simple. I was greeted by an uninfested ember on my arsenal screen and my revive counter that had gone down by 1. And I completely forgot that back in my day when I first started playing Warframe, there was a frame-based revive counter that resets daily.
Oh God.
So if you had an Ember and a Volt, each one can be downed. You can revive yourself 4 times on each frame. If you burn all of your revives in that day, the next time you go down, you're just done. Mission's over immediately.
You can't play the game. You have to wait till the 24-hour cycle refreshes.
You can still play the game. It's just if you die, there's no chance of being revived anymore, even if you have a full squad of guys.
Okay, that's interesting. That's a weird in between either like having to refresh because you've gone through your dailies, or like just having like having it refresh after missions. Huh.
Each Warframe can revive 4 times a day.
Gotcha.
So when I was playing with Warframe back then, if I was playing a whole bunch of hard missions and I lost all my revives, I had to switch to a different Warframe if I wanted to continue doing hard missions.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd just die and I'd sit there and do nothing while my squad finishes the mission. Or if I'm playing solo, I would just fail immediately.
Yeah. I guess it would also incentivize diversifying your frames. Not just sticking to one frame and like making it uber power. Like that thing that you also get in Pokemon sometimes when as a trainer and stuff like that, you like just like beef up your starter and like you just have a bunch of like small like lesser backups.
Yeah, pretty much.
So when your main goes down like faints, you're doing like just like you're watching the death spiral of your play because all your others are just getting taken out by the powerful Pokemon that you're fighting that your main just got dropped by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long story short, I really miss that mechanic. Honestly,
Oh, okay. It doesn't seem like a bad
added
mechanic.
a whole different. It added a whole different like feel to the game. Now there's no repercussions, which is great. It's chill, but it's kind of cool that there was repercussions to your actions. You know,
It's fair.
that's about it for my actual thoughts.
Okay. Cool. All right. On to final thoughts. Personally, I think there is a story that could be told here with the premise we get. Like we said earlier, like there's a seed here. It's just it was kind of left after the seed was dropped into the pot. It wasn't nourished at all. Like it needs to escalate into the real world or be solely in universe in the world of Warframe. And I think we can all agree, like I think all three of us agree, like that would be fucking baller if like again, like the infestation manifests into the real world because of this glitch that he found in the game. Or again, like from the angle of like you're the Tenno, this is a log from the Tenno describing this really fucked up misadventure he's having with the infested. Like he gets back on his Lasat. Is that what it's called? I can't. What's the? I don't. Oh, the Orbiter's the main ship. I can't remember the extraction ship.
It's a Lisette, yeah.
Lisette? Okay, I was
You just call it a landing craft as well.
Yeah, the landing craft. Yeah, you get back on the landing craft as the infested, like because like he's been infested, or the Tenno's frame has been infested, and gets back on the ship, and they're unwittingly now a carrier host for the infestation. Wherever they go, the infestation breeds. Like it starts affecting. Like they have a Kubro on their orbiter. The Kubro being one of the little like one of the space kitties or space dogs or space bat dogs.
Basically dogs with bat noses.
Yeah, space bat dogs. And it becomes infested, and suddenly it becomes like a completely different mutated creature. And you're just like, wait, what happened to Cuddles?
Snuffleupagus, no,
Mentos. You've always been this way, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just name dropping my own infested Kubro.
Yes.
Mentos, the flesh maker.
The flesh raker.
Oh my god. But yeah, no, like that kind of stuff. And then like every other mission that the Tenno goes on, with that frame. Now, like that's like they start realizing like the different locations they've been going to, like the different colonies they go to. Suddenly, there's an outbreak of infestation. Like they go to Cetus, and suddenly there's a zombie apocalypse in Cetus. In fact, damn it, I want to run that game.
You know what would be really cool?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bring up something that I haven't brought up in a while, and it's something that you don't like. You cultists don't like it when me and Cat Muslim talk about it. Even though we bought you the game. Elite Dangerous. Okay, stay with me. Elite Dangerous has this really interesting thing where the world that the developers give the world to the players, and the actions of the players actually influence the story that went ahead. Like for a while, it was just a space simulation game. Everything was fine. All of a sudden, a freaking alien ship. What the hell is up with that? And because players went after them and tried to attack them, they became a hostile alien race. Because of that.
So it's cooperative storytelling with the player base.
Pretty much.
And because, gamers are assholes, they immediately attacked the the majority, or maybe even just the vocal minority, attacked the strange alien craft, thinking it was an enemy, because of course it is. Because it's different than us, so let's kill it.
Pretty much. Those ships are awesome, by the way, if you guys don't know.
I've never seen it, so because
looks like a freaking flower.
That's cool.
I had to have shown you. I'll show you later.
Yeah. So
basically, what I'm saying is, it would be kind of cool if they did that sort of thing in here, where have this very specific scenario that happens, and if it happens, then that Warframe is infested. And like, even if this is all in game, whatever, if it's all scripted, fine, it's still a creepy thing. If your Warframe is infested and you don't hear the voice of the Lotus anymore, you hear
this gravelly voice.
Yeah, and you leave your mission, and when you go back in to do another mission, all the mission nodes, their objectives are different, and the targets are different. Like, instead of going into a mission on Jupiter to fight the Corpus, like, instead of just doing that to like destroy a reactor or something, you're going in there with like a handful of infested for the purpose of turning all of the Corpus in there.
That would be interesting. That'd be a very interesting. Like, I could see them like kind of building off of Nidus with that.
Yeah,
and then like maybe
it's
even like other.
It's sort of like the stalker mode that they've been teasing a whole bunch, where you can sort of. Oh, yeah, they've done playtests of it.
Oh God!
At TennoCon.
Oh no!
One of the years we were there.
Gamer, is this why a certain friend of ours has been like super giddy recently?
Well, he's had a man crush on him all the time, but no, it hasn't been recent at all. This has been playtested for ages, because the first TennoCon we went to, there was a dark and brooding corner of the convention where you could go in there and play Warframe, but what you were doing is you were on a dev build with everyone. There was multiple other stations of Warframe there at the con as well, where you could just sit down and play Warframe. And they were all on a special dev build where if you go in the mission, that's great, you're playing normal Warframe. But that guy in the back corner, he can pick a node and quick match into someone's mission as the stalker and attack them as a player-controlled stalker.
You know what this? So they're teasing a Dead Before Daylight, or like a Jason or Friday the 13th style kind of game where. Or like, or any number of like one on mob
PvP game,
yeah.
Like Evolve.
Yeah, like a one-on mob sort of game.
Kind of, yeah.
But yeah, the
asymmetric like playtest worked. It's cool and people like it. It's just they haven't implemented it yet.
God damn, this game is like the game that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is possible, even if it's something that's in-game creepy. What I'm trying to get at is, even if it's something creepy happening in the game, as long as it's expanded upon, it can still be creepy. Like, bring up that other people are noticing that person. Like, instead of going back in the Warframe's normal, the Warframe is still messed up. Keep it messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he's in missions with other people, he's infecting them, and slowly they're turning as well.
They've also kind of done that in the past too, with like the little like infested nodes that are on like your neck and stuff like that. Yeah. And if you like try to make a Kubro at the time, or if you try to breed a Kubro at that point or something like that, it'll come out infested. Like, that's how I got
until the tumor on your neck is fully grown and sufficiently throbby and gross. And then as you are finalizing your weird space magic S2 baby Kubro, you drain the infested pus out of it into the concoction to make your infested Kubro.
Yeah, that's how I got Mentos.
It's disgusting and gross.
I love it.
Yes.
It's how you get body horror.
That's the long and short of that.
Yeah. So yeah. Back on the rails.
This was your recommendations.
Yeah, this is my final thoughts and recommendation stuff. Yeah, so that honestly just proves, again, like, you've got to escalate the story to have some repercussions in the real world, or have it in world of Warframe. Because as it is, nothing here happened that affected the player on any kind of like scary level. Like, even psychologically, like they literally like end the story is like, Oh, that was kind of weird. I talked to some people. They thought it was really creative. Like even one of the devs piped in and said it was a really creative or creepy idea. But nothing else happened about it. So I guess it was just a weird glitch. YOLO. It was like it's just like I know like tons of creepypastas do that and like video game creepypastas. And again, they hearken to those creepy cool moments that happen in like real life when a weird glitch happens in a game that you can't always explain. But you got to do more with it with a creepypasta to make it like make the story engaging, and
Have the theater of the mind available.
Exactly, yeah. Like you don't have to have it confined to what actually happened. Like you take that inspiration and expand on it, like nurture it, flourish it out, like let it grow and breathe into a much more creepy experience on the written in the written word. It's a pitfall that happens with so many vigipastas and creepypastas with dreams that we've covered elsewhere. That we've covered elsewhere. So yeah, nothing really scary happens here, it's like to the player specifically or to Nair. So that's why I can't recommend it. Like I want to recommend the idea if you continue and build off of it, but like I can't recommend the story as is. So that's my final thoughts. Mikey, T stands for evil. You've been awfully quiet this past little while.
Are you still here?
Just slinking in the void.
Yeah, I'm still here.
So yeah, Mikey, he stands for evil. Your takeaway here.
Well, I'm just probably going to be reiterating what's already been said, and the fact that the protagonist is in no danger.
Mm-hmm.
There's some sort of creepy stuff that happens, but it's all in a game, so that's par for any horror game. And
yeah.
Even like Halo with the infected. Halo is kind of creepy, but I mean,
oh yeah. Like I do remember getting like chills when you first encountered the flood, like because it's just like you were just killing aliens a minute ago and doing like finding this cool like this cool ring world, and then oh god, then you get found footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's kind of neat, but at the same time, it doesn't really affect the protagonist.
Yeah.
At least in this story, he as you pointed out, he sort of almost nopes out at one point, but nothing's really happened at that point. So it doesn't make much sense.
Like he almost wanted to nope out, and then he's like, "But I'll keep playing."
Yeah, and then just adding that extra, it bleeding into the real world somehow, like we suggested with the computer becoming infected and then infecting his walls in the room and such would be a cool addition.
Yeah, especially since it's described in the story, like during the level, like all the infestation on the walls and like the weird like swarms of the technocyte plague, like just swarming around like bees and a swarm of insects. Like that would be really cool if you came back into your room after like letting your laptop recool off, and it's suddenly like that was there. You hear like a buzzing sound as you like go to open the door.
Yeah, instead of just like a random set dressing that's actually foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but as we've stated, that doesn't happen, so I can't recommend that.
Okay. Gamer, your verdict.
Okay. I've had kind of like a flip-floppy sort of view on this. Because at first I saw it as like, it's a neat story with a cool transformation, but it doesn't make sense in the lore because the Tenno are immune. So I was like kind of like meh about it. But because I got thinking more about it, and like I've realized that it could potentially happen in actual lore of Warframe. Like if you get killed by the infestation,
what happens to your frame?
Get puppeted, yeah.
Yeah. Or would the Tenno is trapped within that infested Warframe, kind of a la a Nidus, that's a little bit more unstable.
Yeah. But that itself, I like that I came to that realization, or at least that question has come up that I can now furiously Google.
Brainstorm and theory craft and research.
Yeah, to try to see what happens, because it's like it's hard to say, because when you're playing Warframe and you're in the mission where like draining all the air out to try to kill you, and you have to keep getting life support. Because when you're connected through your Warframe, you're actually breathing through lungs and everything in the Warframe, and magically that is giving you your air, I think.
Which does beg the question, because like if the infestation's airborne, like through those swarms and stuff, how are they not getting infested? It's because, like, do they need to be killed? Does the frame need to be killed and then it is resurrected, like kind of a la a zombie plague thing? Because it's or like the latents in Red Markets, the tabletop RPG, where like you're infected with the blight, but you are still you still maintain your cognitive control of your body. But if your character dies, they become a fast-moving, like, 28 days later zombie.
Yeah, which might be the case. Or it's just the case that the 10 are immune, so whatever.
Yeah.
However, anyways, all that stuff aside, at the end of the day, nothing happened to the player. He's unfazed by it, as you guys said. He just keeps continuing playing the game. He didn't even say something like, ever since then, I will not fight the infested.
He keeps playing the game. Like, it's like, I still play the game.
Yeah. So there's even less impact on the player than most video game creepypastas, because at least all the Pokemon-related ones and stuff, they're creeped out by it, and then they also don't play Pokemon anymore.
Yeah, and there's it's like those ones are supposed to capture like a sense of ennui, or like a nostalgia that has been like ripped, like, or like stolen childhood, basically, like literally stolen childhood, like because they no longer have the same joy and nostalgia that they had for Pokemon because of the circumstances that happened in the story.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, he's just like, well, that was weird.
Anyway, what am I going to do today?
What area am I going to grind now in? Yeah.
If there were some repercussions, or because like this could be expanded out to like the shit happens and then it switches over to forum post that he put on the Warframe forums with a bunch of responses, like I'm assuming fake responses, unless he actually gets friends of his to make up actual responses to it.
Yeah.
And including like fake DE ones being like,
no, Steve's there just like, what did you guys talk about? Wait, it's like, see, you guys have been talking about this. Stay out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, our book coming soon.
Oh, sure, Steve.
That's in his tag. That's his like sub tag. Like that pops up with every post he does. It's like, our book coming soon. We swear.
TM.
TM.
No. As you said, that I was just about to say, forum posts put down and being like, have like back and forth between different people and forming out they need to find out what caused this and keep it under wraps.
Yeah.
And then at the end saying like to try to keep this a secret. You know,
honestly, this could also be like a really cool, like, given like the modding community and like the TennoGen community of Warframe, like a creepy ARG, like showing screen caps on like the forums of Warframe of this kind of stuff, like telling their stories, having some other friends and stuff that are in on it tell like their own creepy stories and events about the whole circumstances and stuff. Again, having in-game, like I do in quotes, in-game captures that are just like fabricated and some of that. Like you could probably get, it would probably make one of the dev streams.
Probably.
Like you could probably get Rebecca or Steve or the other, or any of the other people on that on the dev stream, like talking about this like weird like ARG that's popped up on their forums.
How often does that happen? Like it's kind of unique, you know?
Yeah, like because it's definitely something that would be community based, and it's actually like, and given how much horror is in Warframe, it seems it would be appropriate. Like we've already gotten like a shit ton of like community based things, like the like the Railjack and the Warframe Ninjas Play Free like theme song kind of stuff that have been popped up. There's tons, and even past that, there's tons of like fan made music for Warframe. There's like small animation groups, like community based animation groups that have been making like Warframe animations that end up on DE's like notice, like they'll take note of. So,
and yeah, creepypastas, there's like 5.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're like we've literally like stumbled. Like I've been trying to search. Like I've been putting calls out on Twitter. I've been looking. I've been scouring. The next one we have, like the next week's creepypasta, is the last one that I could find that like seemed like it was worth our time. Because aside from the ones that we've done, the most that I've been able to find is I had like it's sort of like this story, but like even like shorter. Like it's only like 2 paragraphs. Like I found this really weird thing in Warframe. It was kind of spoopy. Anyway, and then I never saw it again.
Yeah.
It was basically just like weird glitches and encounters that people have found, but like there's no story to it.
Yeah, you gotta do more with it.
Yeah, exactly.
But all in all, the best I can do is give this a low partial recommendation because it gets props for making me think about the logistics of the infested and what would happen to a Warframe that gets killed by them. Would it be puppeteered and all that? So it gets props for that, but it's brought back down because there's no impact on the player. Doesn't give a shit at all. There's lots of run-ons. Dan.
So many endings.
There were
now
7.
and then. Yeah.
But yeah, so
7 was enough, or 7 was too much. Mm-hmm. But yeah, sorry.
Low partial is the best I can give it.
Yeah, that's fair. And again, like I like the seed, the core idea is cool in here, like, but it has potential. But that's the problem is it doesn't reach its potential. So yeah, basically a 0.4 or 5 out of 3. It seems like.
Sounds about right.
Just on the recommendation table. So,
it's weird because I don't remember how we all specifically thought about the Stalker one, the first one we did.
God, I don't remember it. It's been so many years. I'll have to re-listen to that episode to find out because I think it was just you and me in that one, Gamer.
Probably, but whatever I said in that one, I prefer this one over that because that one was just the Stalker showed up and then he killed me. You know. So this one had, like as you said, it had some great seeds and everything. It's good in theory. It just needs to be.
I don't remember if did the Stalker come into the real world or did he just keep stalking the character in the game?
Oh, it was one and done.
Yeah.
He wasn't continually stalking him. He showed up into a mission. Remember this still. He showed up into a mission. There was one enemy. He's running around this huge area trying to find him. And then all of a sudden, the Stalker shows up and he doesn't have control over his Vob and Warframe. Yes, I remember that specifically.
Wow.
And then, like, his character, like, moved on its own as it turned around to face the Stalker. And the Stalker came up and said something stalkery and then killed him.
And that was it. Wow. So not even a stalker, because like stalkers like tend to like let things like play things out like for a long time. And actually stalk. But yeah, I digress.
What I'm trying to say is comparatively, this one was way better than that one, but there still needs to be more done here. The best I can give is a partial.
All right. So that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr. We're all on Twitter, so you can talk to us there. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W at the end because his name is too damn long.
It really is.
And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. We can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, spooky internet stories and tales, cryptids, SCPs, Warframe creepypastas if you can find them. Please send them our way, because maybe if we can gather enough next year, maybe we'll do another TennoVember, or maybe we'll do another November niche sort of special. I don't know.
Fuck it, maybe I'll just write 4 of them myself.
Go for it. Do it. Shia LaBeouf, make your dreams come true. Just do it.
But then it becomes a yearly thing. I have to write 4 every year.
Hey, that'd be
me writing those 4 next year is more than the entirety of Warframe creepypastas right now.
Oh my god! But
we
yeah,
only have like 3 of them, right? Plus like non-DE made ones.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, we've got like maybe 4, 5 maybe that we've like covered over the years. including including TennoVember this year. But yeah, so yeah, send us your emails if you have any that you would like to share, or if you'd like to talk to us or anything like that. If you'd like to help support us financially, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis on the Patreon page and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. To our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to the listeners of listeners of our show and the authors of these stories, thank you guys immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like screaming into the void. And without your authorship, without your stories that you post or that you write and post online, we would not have this discussion at all, because we'd have nothing to talk about. So thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
I'm the gamer in yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis for TennoVember. Sleep well.